Have you ever been to a restaurant and immediately thought, why did they just hand me a novel? Where you got all these pages to flip through and all these options. The thing is, they didn't set out to make things complex. The complexity just happened because they said yes to one more menu item after another. The first item was a clear yes. Then at some point, somewhere, almost invisibly, each yes eventually turned into too much. It turned into complexity. And that's the number one mistake that smart teams and smart companies, businesses, and owners keep making without ever noticing it. It's yes to the new product. It's yes to the customer request. Those yeses turned to regret, turn to complexity. We think saying yes means growth, and it often does, but that yes slowly turns into too much. This happens in restaurants, this happens in startups, this happens in old businesses, this happens in new businesses, this happens in billion-dollar companies. And I'll be honest, it has happened to me. Complexity doesn't show up as crisis. It shows up quietly. Kitchen confusion, slower services, customers drift away, rising costs and wasted inventory, staff struggling to keep up. The biggest cost isn't money, it's clarity. And once clarity erodes, execution falls apart like dominoes falling in a chain. So, why do smart teams, smart leaders, smart owners fall into this trap? It's because complexity looks like progress. Saying yes feels like growth. Every addition makes sense on its own, but string them all together, and you're running into a restaurant that doesn't know if it's a burger joint, a brunch cafe, a smoothie bar, or a steakhouse. And your team and ultimately the business pays a price. So, how do I know if complexity has crept in? Ask yourself these three simple questions. Number one, does this multiply or focus our efforts? If it focuses your efforts on one thing, it's likely that this is something that will add clarity. If you're pushing your attention in multiple areas and doing multiple different things, it's likely that that's going to add complexity. Next, does this add clarity or confusion? Now, it's rare that someone's going to say, well, this adds confusion because everyone thinks it's clarity at first. But if someone from the outside can't hear what you're doing and understand it immediately, it's likely adding confusion. I found myself in this as we thought we created a really clear system. And then every time we presented it, we got negative feedback or we got no feedback. We realized very quickly that we had added confusion in an area that we thought we'd added clarity. So seek outside help and support when asking this question. And then number three, what would happen if we stopped tomorrow? If we stopped doing that report, if we stopped doing that task and nothing happens, then that's your red flag that this is likely adding complexity without clarity or without progress for the business. So how do we fight complexity? Way number one is prune regularly. Audit your products, your tools, your processes every quarter. Cut everything that is not essential. Number two, default to saying no. Often we'll say default to yes, but instead let's think default to no. And this isn't just an immediate no. This is a no until you understand the why and the secondary and tertiary impacts. Number three, simplify reporting. Fewer KPIs, fewer dashboards. Simplicity in reporting means we can get really focused on the inputs that are actually driving results. Complexity in reporting means that we often don't even do anything with those reports because we don't know where to start. Next, build clarity rituals. Clarity rituals are weekly check-ins on what your top priorities are. This gets your whole team looking at what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What is our top priority? And making sure that we're doing this last one, which is push one thing down the hill. Momentum comes from force applied in one direction. When we put that force in one direction as a team and are all going the same way with the clarity ritual and then this focus, we can accomplish things that previously seemed unaccomplishable. Complexity doesn't require brilliance to beat it, but it does require discipline. For me, it started with spreadsheets. I thought one more formula was better, but then eventually that one more became fragile, right? I trained staff on how to do it, but then things broke and they didn't know how to fix it. So then it required me to get back in the process and figure out what that looked like. One particular day, the spreadsheet broke, and what I finally realized, what looked like power was actually fragility. So I stopped building those impressive spreadsheets and I started building more simple systems. It might have looked lazy, but in reality, it was wisdom. That's the shift we've started to make at Bison CFO. Not doing everything or being for everyone or offering every service, but instead just focusing on B2B service businesses, specifically security guard services and commercial cleaning, because clarity is what's going to allow us to scale. It gives us a clear message, a clear goal that we can all push that boulder down that hill together. Clarity is what ultimately wins. The number one mistake smart teams make isn't a lack of ideas, it's saying yes until clarity disappears. So here is my challenge for you. Ask, where has complexity crept into your business, into your life? And what would happen if you just removed one thing this week? Think about that for a second and drop in the comments, what is the one thing you're going to remove? I'd love to hear what you're trying. It gives us all ideas that we can work together on. Because clarity isn't optional. Clarity is required, and it's the core of forward momentum and growth. Thank you for watching.